Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Anno 1800. You join us in Ditchwater where we've got a few things that we need to do. This stretch of beach is going to soon become our Docklands area, and it's been a long time coming really, but I think it's time that we started getting some trade goods in that really benefit us. So we're going to start following our Docklands tutorial here where we need to build a Docklands main wharf and 3 modules. Now the Docklands is really important. It is a more kind of truncated version of the main trading hub that you have, and as a result I'm going to build my Docklands area kind of a little bit further out to sea here. So we're going to put it around about here, and there's a very good reason behind that. It gives me a large radius for one, and we can now add some more space efficient sort of things to it. Now the problem is we need to build a road that goes out to it. I think it needs to be all hooked up. If we have a look here, we can add features. So we can add a depot, which increases the storage that we can have. We can add a pier, which gives us an extra slot for ships to trade, repair cranes, harbour master, an exports office, which increases the number of export and import contracts we can use to export goods. That's the first thing we're going to build. We've then got a loading wharf, which reduces the loading times for local ships, and that also requires a free harbour area and gives us a loading speed bonus. Now the issue is, what we could actually do is, in fact what I think I'll do is, we can move our main trading post here somewhere else, potentially swapping the trading post on that side of the island for the Docklands over here. But we don't need to connect to the main wharf. However, directly connected to this main wharf will provide an attractiveness bonus. So I would quite like to make this a nice attractive one. So maybe we do switch out and move our large trading post out to the original space. We're going to demolish this for now then. Yes. Then we're going to head back over here. We're going to slow things down while I do some rearranging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relocate our large trading post. That is going to be relocated over here. We're going to put that right there. Then some items have kind of dropped off a boat there, I think. Do I have someone who's ready to just go and pick that up? Yes, I've got this little schooner here. We're going to have the schooner go around to here and just collect that flotsam now. Then over here we've got, that's now kind of made a load of these buildings. They're now going to struggle because they need somewhere to go. So there's no connection to the harbour up here, and we need that. So we're going to put this right here. Let's put the shipyard on this edge. Then we'll actually move the harbour to here so that it's next to it. Then we'll put this coming in and going off in that direction. Good. Right, they're now connected up. Then we now need to just grab the fisheries that we've got here. Actually, hang on, because this harbour master's office has some very important buildings in. This increases my harbour activity. So we're going to move this one over here. We're going to put it, it probably is going to fit there actually, which is good because we still get the harbour activity bonus because it's right next to the harbour there. Good. Then we're going to grab all of my fisheries here, and they're going to go out here as well. So we're going to put one here. I think they can actually potentially go across like that. Might help us out a little bit because we don't want these to be blocking spaces, but we also want them to be able to still collect the goods that they're intending to get. So let's see, can we, this might be a better option though. I go like that, and then we move the rest of them in a line. Our fish production might take a bit of a hit here while I'm setting this up, but for now, this will do quite nicely. Again, we've got another one there, which we'll move up to this space, and we'll just have them go out quite far. Now, we do need to be very aware of the fact that this might take us out of range of warehouses and stuff, but we'll leave it as it is for now. I don't really like that it's not a straight road, so we'll move them one square over. And then have the road continue up. Perfect. Good. Right, I think we might be able to fit in one more fishery. I've got 2 left to squeeze in. Oh, it doesn't fit. It's just short. Now, can I then move these 3 back 1 more? Oh, yes, that's going to give us space. Excellent. Right, then back down to here, where you will see we should now be able to pick 1 more up, move it into position here, place it. Good. Right, that's in. Then coming back over here where we have the sand mine, we can pick up and place right here. I think the sand mine can just go there. That's good. And then back down to here where we have... Now, I'm going to leave that in place. So all we need to now do is move that and then maybe the depots, because they might be a little bit in the way. But we can now put this in. We can run this road all the way along to here, linking that up, which is nice. And then if we have a quick look at our depots, which are going to be superseded at some point anyway. The piers. Now, I'm not too sure we actually need to put these in now because we're going to have the other stuff available to us. So that might save us a little bit of an issue because we can put more loading docks in. So let's actually demolish these 2 piers. And then let's see if we can just relocate these items a little bit further in. Well, that goes in nicely. That's good. Can I fit some more in? Not quite. And that one won't fit there. But we can squeeze in our final few depots here. And that should really give us a nice little boost when we start putting in our docklands. This is looking good. I don't want to demolish any of the items that we've got here, because if I do get rid of one of these depots, we will lose its effect. And I have items that are stored here that I don't want to lose, and that could cause a problem for us. Can I fit this in? Yes, there we go. Excellent. Right, so we've got a nice little compact docklands area there. I could do with moving some of these as well. So we'll move one of our flame turrets. We'll move that over to here. It should just fit on the front there. Perfect. And then I think we can probably move one more. That's a flame turret. We don't want to move that one. We do and will move this heavy cannon, which should be able to fit in there. And I think we can probably move another one. So there's this one, the gun. And that fits in quite nicely there as well. Good. Excellent. So that goes in. We've then got these, which I'll just move this one out of the way for now. Then we've got plenty of space here to kick off our docklands. So we'll demolish these roads. And demolish that one. Great. So now we can go to our docklands. We can build our main wharf here now, where there is space. Slight overlapping radius. We want to avoid that. So we'll try and bring it further in. I think that's a decent place for it. So we'll put that in. We'll build it. Then we want to go to our modules, and we want to build a loading wharf or 2 exports offices. Now our exports office, it's really important that we get this right. So our exports office is going to kind of form a wing heading off in that direction, and the same there. We're going to build both of them. Perfect. Then we're going to go to this again, and we are going to put in loading wharfs. Probably here. Like that. And then another loading wharf. Then we want to put in a pier. We'll put our pier here. And another pier here. That's them in. So that gives us, we've now built our modules. So now Captain Tobias is going to come and he will help us set up some import and export contracts. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a depot. Now our depot needs a little bit of a free slot here. So we'll put the depot there maybe, or we could put a harbour master there and another harbour master there. We'll build both of them. That will now allow us to have more harbour master slots in this space. So as you can see here, we've got harbour masters and we've got module items, which you don't have anything available yet. Now, these don't necessarily need to be connected by roads just yet, but we now have our main wharf in, and we can start setting up our import and export contracts. Now, we need to level up our export volume here. We've got a fire issue somewhere in Tabarime. This area doesn't have a fire station, so we're going to very quickly build one. Right here. We haven't yet got that second quest, but what I will do is, as I'm here, I'm going to quickly load this clipper up with dried meat and hibiscus tea. Good. Right, so that should get sorted very quickly. You can see we're still making a nice bit of profit, even though we now have our docklands in. So if we go to our import and export contracts, I'll explain a little bit more about this. Now, in here, we've got all of our export goods, stuff that we can sell. Now, we want to sell the stuff that we are in a massive surplus of. We've got 3 current contracts that we can have, and we can import stuff from these areas. So we need to level things up before we can actually unlock all of those new stuff. So the more complex a good is to produce, the better we're going to get from it. And then we can select what we're going to import from this. So if we have a look further down here, we've got coffee here that we could actually export for a nice, tidy profit. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to have a look at windows. We are making quite a bit in terms of our windows. It's not the most complex thing to do, but we will put that in our empty slot and we can see what we can trade in for it. Now, what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to import. What do we need to import realistically? I think we should import wheat. Now, that sounds weird, but what that's going to allow me to do is start putting in and filling up silos. Or we could then start adding wheat into the equation when we're doing our routes to get silos in other areas where we can continue improving our production of things like soap. So exporting windows and bringing in other stuff would be a good idea. The other thing we can do is we can export bread. If we export bread, we can import wheat to then continue turning that into flour. So for every 50 bread, we're getting 75 wheat. Over at the windows, we can have a quick look. I think maybe trading windows for sausages is going to be a good idea. So if we trade windows for sausage, we get 5 units of sausage for every 1 window we export, which is good. Now, the more exports we do, the higher our ranks get, and the higher we specialize, which means we get more for our buck when it comes to this sort of stuff. So bringing in the base goods is actually more helpful, but you know, that's fine with this because we're going to convert that wheat back into bread along the line anyway, so that doesn't matter so much. The other thing we can do is, you can see here we've got saltpeter there, but we need to export a certain amount of goods. Every time we get to a certain tier, we'll unlock more stuff that we can import. So we need to make sure that we are reaching our highest export levels so that we can bring those sort of things in. So a lot of them don't have specific export requirements, but some of them do. Like for gold, we need to export a certain amount of cement. For bomb bins, we need to have a certain amount of export and import contracts active. And for that, we need to actually expand all of our stuff to a more appropriate level. What we could technically do is we could have wheat here, we could import hops, which we could then turn into beer and start producing beer in Ditchwater. But again, that's not something that I'm looking to do. But my main target is going to be getting rum. Now, for that, we need 18 contracts active so that we can import rum. So we're quite far off that at this moment in time. But that's okay. I'm also going to export weapons, because weapons are something that we can make relatively easily, and we can... What we could do is we could bring in something like... we could bring in pigs, but the problem is we're topped out on pigs, which means we're producing far too many. So that makes things a bit difficult. We could bring in schnapps, but again, that level seems pretty good. So until we actually get something done in terms of putting out some decent export contracts, we're not going to be able to do anything really substantial here. So I think we're going to, again, let's bring in sausages for weapons. Again, that's a decent contract, really. So we get that put in. Captain Tobias will then come along and he will pick these things up. But now that we have a pier, we should now be able to use these locally as well. Which means we get a higher loading speed, I think, 3,000 tons a second, or 3 tons a second, whereas this one, the loading speed, can I see what the loading speed is? 5 tons a second, so it's quicker, I think. What's our current load speed? 3 tons a second. Right. So this being 3 tons a second, it's a slower load speed. But if we add certain modules, we should be able to increase the loading speed. So if we put this in, if we put another one of these in, that might help. Or we find a item that helps us in the harbour. That is kind of like a harbour master's item. And they normally come from the prison. So looking over at the prison here, we don't have anything by the looks of things that is going to... Oh, we do have here. That affects the fisheries and allows the fisheries to produce tallow. Now, we've got 26 minutes left on that. So I think if we've got a ship nearby, we should just go and pick that up. And we do somewhere. I've just seen it. It's here. It's the goblin shark who's taking furs from Magwitch to Ditchwater. So we'll bring him over very quickly. We'll buy that. That's not going to help us at this point, really. It's not going to allow us to trade or anything or kind of increase that. But it will give us less maintenance costs for our fisheries, and we'll produce tallow in our fisheries as well, which we can then convert into soap and keep all of that stuff going quite nicely. I'm also going to pick up this ventilator, which impacts our mines and cement. So we're going to bring him in as well. And the hunting cabins, there's not really much point in getting that right now. Let's see if there's anything else when we refresh it. Brick factories and concrete factories, reduced workforce, carpentry works and window makers. Oil power plant. This gives us extra oil. I think he might be a good one. I mean, this is a good one. That gives us steel beams as well. Let's bring him in. Problem is we've only got 24 minutes now, and I do want to grab the extras there. So we're going to have him head back to Ditchwater. We're then going to grab a ship that we should hopefully have close by, and they're going to head back over to the prison, and they're going to recruit some other people. So we've got ruins in our cities. This was in Tabarime, I would imagine. Yes, it is. The fire is still going there. We don't have water there. Oh dear. That's something that I forgot about. Yeah, we need to supply this with water. So we've got a river slot there, which we can very quickly build a water pump on. We can also build clay collectors there. I did not realize that. Now they're filling up with water, which is good. And one of these then we can build a clay collector on. Well, that is interesting. Now here I can build my clay collector. So we can build that. They're going to collect clay now. And then we put a street connection in. And funny enough, their goods thin. So it's a perfect time to come over here. Because what I do have is a ship full of stuff ready to take it over there. They wanted 24 tons and 19 tons. So we'll send you over. And then we'll bring you back and drop you off there. We're now producing clay in Tabarime, which is really interesting. They do need access to a warehouse, so we'll very quickly build one of those. I'll build it in the dry area there. And then we'll head back over here, where hopefully we should have finished off stuff here. Do we have a ship there now? We do. They have arrived, which is good. We're going to trade. And we're going to bring in... We'll take in the cabinet maker. We're going to just take in whatever we can, really. So the bicycle factory, the oil, bicycles, and that will do. So they'll come into my ship. I'll bring them back to my dock. Now, I think the issue that we have is... Where is it? Where's my trade ship gone? Let's go to my route. It was the furs trader. Where is he now? He's on his way back. Right. He's on his way back, but he's probably got stuff still, hasn't he? Yes. So he still has them. That's fine. It's okay. We now have 2 lots of furs in here, and our wool is holding pretty steadily. This is done, so they are now using wool instead of cotton fabric. We've got a newspaper ready to go. Lack of beer in La Isla, but that's okay. We can deal with that. We'll post the truth. The Taberime fire is now extinguished. Is damage done? Yes, it is. Right, we've got to just repair these buildings. We're now going to start producing clay there, which, see, this was an oversight on my part. I was bringing clay in, not realizing that we could actually produce clay there and then. So we now have clay being produced there, which is something that we can revisit at a later episode. We need more influence. We need to increase our population. We need to be able to get better influence. Now, currently we have content engineers. They need their little penny farthings, but we're not going to do that right now because our important thing is going to be spectacles, electricity, and light bulbs. The issue with that is that's going to cost us. So we need to boost our finances. We need to make sure that this pier, we're going to upgrade now to a tourist mooring. We're going to have a little bit more of a look at what we can do with tourism. Now that is going to involve some significant changes. We can build a hotel. We don't want to do that yet. We're going to allow the tourists to come in. They want us to build a hotel and a bus stop. Now, what we could do is we could start moving our workers' residences out to the suburbs, but we're going to need to change the things that we do on these islands so that we can have more space devoted to our hoteliers. We need fuel. We have oil here, which is great, but we are far off any of this advanced sort of stuff at this moment in time. Do we have something from our expedition to finish us off? We do. The contract. So, we are in Montoya. The city sprawls before you under a pastel blue sky, the distinctive white walls and terracotta of Imperial La Corona glowing softly along the narrow estuary where the Mixcoatl meets the ocean. Yet, tranquil it is not. Anxiety is written on every passing face. They must surely know who you are and what you seek, but finding one brave enough to help is a different matter. You can ask around or instead rely on your own eyes to find clues. So I'm going to ask them if they know anything. Offer them some champagne. The only one who may be willing to help is a great plainsman. The softly spoken giant is hauling thick rope at the dock. I would be putting my life at risk, he says gravely, looking over his shoulders. He seems to know something. So let's reassure him. Your envoy is right. I can cover my tracks well enough. He nods upriver. They've taken the big ranch. They're using it for the gatherings. You'd better be ready if you're hoping to break in, though. See all those people? They're reason to be afraid. Okay, so we head into the darkness. We are going to provide some extra rations. Hopefully, that's not going to be the end of us. Right, so our fur coats production is stagnating, really. We do have furs. We've got 55 lots of furs available, but we just aren't producing enough. So I'm going to add another fur coat production in, and we'll put another one here, and then we'll link all of this up with a road. Like that. And this can be built. This can be built. But you can see now we are short of workers. So we're going to need to expand here. We'll start by just expanding this worker residence here. And let's do a big swathe going up here. And another one going up to the top. Now we are short of farmers, but that's fine. We can put in some more. So we're going to copy these 2 streets here. And put them in. And then build them all up. And then we can do the same here. We'll just copy this little group here. Bring them up next to this area. Like that. And then we'll put the road in. Build them. Right, now I don't think they have access to a marketplace. Now, over here, I think I do have something that will increase the area of effect on the markets, but it might well be that we're just better off just getting a brand new market. Let's have a look. Yes, there we go. Increases the maintenance cost, but increases the range. Now, we could do this as well. So let's do that. That increases the range, which means they now have access to a market. We probably need another fishery, though, due to the fact that we've got a lot more people requiring fish. So let's copy this fishery and place a new one down here, because it is out of range of our market. So we can put that in. Good. Right, so the fish should solve itself. They have access to a market now because of that town hall perk we've just put in. And then we can probably add in a few more houses just up here. And then we'll finish the road going along. Add these in. And then I'll put a row of housing all the way along here. Finish this off with a road, and then going around. Okay. No, let's copy these then. Bring them up. Them up. And then a road that goes around to finish off. We can build these. Good. Right. So they should come in. The market is down there, so they should just be in range. Let's build a brick road here. Might just push them in. Rare, it does. Excellent. Great. And I think we are probably good to finish there. So we're at 184. These farmers will increase in population very quickly. These guys need access to a pub. We've got a pub there. Will a stone road help? Ooh, almost. Might just need to build another pub. Which should be fine. We can build another pub. Let's put another pub down here. Okay, so this population of workers should start to increase. That should be really good. They should be happy now. Schnapps, let's just keep an eye on that. We should be making plenty of fur coats now, because what we really need to do is keep these engineers happy. And their happiness is going to be impacted by these goods being met. So it might now be time to move on to the production of brass to make the spectacles, so that we can keep those engineers really happy. We can deal with any of the happiness goods at another time, because at the moment, not massively necessary. So we can start thinking about what we're going to do in terms of other things. Now, you might notice we actually have commuter pier active, which is what we can do to transfer our workforce from other islands. But I'm not ready to go for that yet. We need to spend a bit more time in the new world, so that's where we're going to go next episode. But we now have our docklands set up and trade is happening. People are getting things done. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.